Hello, inflation fighters. Thank you for joining me, the Penny Nanny, where we watch over every cent. Today is Thoughtful Thursday, and we're going to be talking about invalidation. Now, by definition, invalidation is the process of denying, rejecting, or dismissing somebody's feelings. It's really easy to kind of do this. And I think most people do it not with the intention of harming another person, but I think they do it because they don't want to see somebody suffer or struggle or go through bad times. And that's typically when this will happen. This is when you would hear things like, let go and let God, or it'll all work out in the end, or, things like that. Or when they say, I'm feeling this way, and you say, well, don't feel like that. That's invalidation. So, as an individual, we have the right to our feelings. Our feelings are never wrong. What we do with those feelings could lead to bad behavior, bad choices. But having the feelings is not wrong. And it always helps to have a good listener when it comes to that. About a decade ago, our family went through a pretty big crisis. And it's a little over a decade, yeah. And it was very hard on the entire family. We all struggled with it. It was difficult to go through. And we felt very isolated because first of all, nobody would just listen to us, but also we didn't feel anybody understood either. I realize that you can't unless you're going through the exact same experience. You can't possibly know. We are all at some point going to lose a parent, and there's many people who've been through that. So when people would say, "Oh, I understand how you feel," they're being genuine when it comes to that. But it was a unique situation we were in, and I realized it was very difficult for people to appreciate what we were experiencing, but it was more difficult, to have our loved ones judge our behavior, to invalidate how we felt, and to want us to just get over it. Those things, they don't come like that. You'd want them to, as the person going through the struggle, but it just isn't reality. And it's difficult for people on the outside to appreciate that. I have a beloved family member who was going through a very difficult time in her family. And she said, whenever I'm having a tough time, I think about you and how you got through your situation. Well, I get what she's saying there. She saw strength and persistence and patience. I was not patient, but she saw that. And she took inspiration from that. But as the person who went through it, the last thing I wanted to do was to be a poster child for that, because it was very difficult, So again, I know her words were well-intentioned, but it's difficult to hear things like that sometimes, because first of all, when you're left with no choice, you know, I mean, your ultimate choice is either make it or don't. And I just have always been kind of a fighter. And, you know, I believe in getting through things. But, you know, we had plenty of people tell us, you know, don't feel this way. Just get over it. Start having more fun. And blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And it just didn't help. None of it helped. What we needed was someone to listen and to appreciate our circumstances. Now, my son is going through a really difficult time right now. And I caught myself doing some of those same things, and I feel very ashamed of that. You know, there's wisdom that comes with age. And so, you know, trying to, and I don't want to see him suffer, and I don't want to see him sad, and I don't want to see him struggle, and all those things. So I flat out apologized to him and said, you know what, I'm so sorry if anything I said about this situation made it more difficult or made you feel bad about your feelings and what you're going through. And now I always try to preface what I say to him, you know, when I talk to him about what he's living through. I say to him, you know, I don't want to see you sad and upset, but you have a right to your feelings, you know, and let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I mean, at the end of the day, that seems to be the most helpful thing to do. Listening is huge, and not speaking. Just listening and giving a hug, doing something nice for that person outside of that situation, making them a meal, bringing them a treat. Now, it's not going to take anything away, but you're not using your words to wound and make it more difficult on that person. So at the end of the day, it's much better to keep your mouth shut and listen and be there for them. You know, and when they ask you to, like I'm a big prayer person, so I will just frequently say, what should I pray for you? You know, a lot of people will say, my thoughts and prayers are with you, you know, but I like to be more specific than that. What do you want me to pray for you? You know, because it helps as the person who's witnessing it. It brings a little bit more understanding. And what the person's looking for. And not that I can fix it or even say anything that will stop the pain or do any of those kind of things. But it's just another way of caring that isn't going to wound. You know, you don't want to make things more difficult for a person in that scenario. So, you know, it's just been on my mind since that circumstance happened with my son, and I never wanted to be guilty of doing something like that, especially with someone I love so much. But I'm grateful that I could be honest with him and apologize. I think that was important to do. And so just, you know, keep it in mind when somebody we love is suffering, that we do things that will help, truly help. And most of the time it doesn't involve words. So with that being said, be well, be blessed, and know you're taken care of. Bye now.